The dealership sold me a lemon and tried to repo it, so I revoked their franchise license. It was 2 a.m. on a Tuesday when I woke up to the sound of a diesel engine idling in my driveway. I looked out the window and saw a tow truck backing up toward my brand new pickup truck. It was a repo man. He was there to repossess the vehicle I had bought just 5 days ago. I ran outside in my bathrobe, holding the keys and my bill of sale. "What are you doing?" I shouted over the noise. "I paid the down payment. I have the contract right here." The driver didn't even look at me. He just hooked up the chains. "Take it up with the dealer, buddy. They said your financing fell through. They want the truck back, or they want another $5,000 in cash by morning." This is called the yo-yo financing scam. It is a dirty trick used by shady car dealerships to extort money from customers after they have already driven the car home. They think that because they have your signature and a spare key, they own you. The dealer, a man named Big Mike, thought I was just another ignorant customer he could bully. He thought I would come crawling back to his office, crying and begging to sign a new contract with a 20% interest rate just to keep my truck. But Big Mike made a fatal mistake. He didn't check my background. He didn't know that for 20 years, I was a fraud investigator for the biggest auto insurance company in America. And he definitely didn't know that before the tow truck arrived, I had already inspected the engine and found the hidden device that proved he was committing federal odometer fraud. He wanted his truck back? Fine, I let them take it, because that truck was no longer a vehicle, it was evidence. Here is the story of how I shut down a corrupt dealership without spending a dime on lawyers.
My name is Sam. I retired last year, but I still love cars. I needed a work truck for my farm, so I started looking for a used Ford F-150. I found a listing online from a place called Patriot Motors. The price was too good to be true. A 2020 model, low mileage, listed for $30,000. That was about $5,000 under market value. I drove to the dealership. It was one of those places with giant inflatable gorillas on the roof and loud music playing in the parking lot. As soon as I stepped out of my old sedan, a salesman sprinted toward me. "Welcome to Patriot Motors," he beamed. "I'm Vinny. Are you here for the F-150? You have great taste, my friend." Vinny showed me the truck. It looked clean, almost too clean. The odometer read 40,000 miles. The paint was polished. The tires were shiny with that cheap dressing dealerships use to hide dry rot. I asked for a test drive. While I was driving, I noticed a slight hesitation in the transmission when shifting from second to third gear. Nothing major, but a trained ear could hear it. "It runs like a dream, right?" Vinny asked, nervous. "It's okay," I said. "Can I see the maintenance records?" "Oh, the previous owner was a grandma," Vinny lied instantly. "She drove it to church, lost the papers, but our mechanic certified it as grade A." I decided to buy it, but only because the price was low enough that I could fix the transmission myself. We sat down to negotiate. "The price is $30,000, I said. "I have excellent credit, and I want to finance through my own credit union." Vinny's face fell. Dealerships hate it when you bring your own loan. They make their real money by marking up the interest rate on their loans. "Actually," Vinny said, "to get that special internet price, you have to finance with us. It's store policy. But don't worry, we can match your rate." He led me into the box. That is what they call the finance manager's office. It's a small room, usually hot, designed to make you sweat and sign papers quickly just to get out. Inside sat Big Mike. He was a massive man with a gold watch that looked tight on his wrist. "Sam, my man," Big Mike boomed, "let's get you in this truck today. I got you approved with one of our premium lenders, 5% interest rate. Just sign here, here, and here." I read the contract. It was a spot delivery agreement. For those who don't know, a spot delivery is a legal loophole. It says, seller agrees to deliver the vehicle pending final approval of financing. If financing is not approved, buyer must return the vehicle or agree to new terms. I hesitated. "Mike, has the loan been approved or not?" "It's 99% done," Mike winked. "The banks are just closed because it's 6 p.m. It's a formality. Take the truck home. Enjoy it." I knew the risk, but I also knew the law. I signed. I put down $5,000 as a down payment. I drove the truck home. I didn't know it yet, but I had just driven into a trap. I had the truck for 3 days before the phone call started. But in those 3 days, I did what any good mechanic does. I put the truck on a lift in my barn. I wanted to investigate that transmission stutter. I drained the transmission fluid. It was dark and smelled burnt. Not good. But then I looked closer at the transmission housing. It had a serial number stamped on it. I ran the serial number through the manufacturer's database. This transmission didn't belong to a 2020 truck with 40,000 miles. It belonged to a 2018 fleet truck, likely a rental or a construction vehicle that had been scrapped. My suspicion grew. I hooked up my OBD-II scanner to the truck's computer. This allows you to see the deep history of the engine. The dashboard said 40,000 miles, but the engine control unit, or ECU, logged total engine hours. I did the math. The engine hours corresponded to a vehicle that had driven at least 120,000 miles. This is called odometer rollback. It is a federal felony. Patriot Motors had taken a high-mileage, beat-up work truck, swapped in a junkyard transmission, digitally rolled back the miles, and sold it as like new. I was sitting there, staring at the evidence, when my phone rang. It was Big Mike. "Sam," his voice was fake sad, "we have a problem. The bank rejected your loan." "Why?" I asked, playing dumb. "My credit score is 800. "Yeah, but they don't like the debt-to-income ratio," Mike lied. "But good news, I pulled some strings. I got another lender to approve you, but the rate is higher. It's 12%, and I need another $2,000 down payment." "That doubles my monthly payment, Mike," I said. "I know it sucks," Mike said. "But look, if you don't come in today to sign the new papers, I have to report the car stolen. You are driving my property, Sam. Bring it back or pay the money." This was the yo-yo. They lure you in with a low rate, let you take the car, let you show it to your neighbors and get emotionally attached, then they yank the string back and demand more money, knowing you are too embarrassed to return the car. "I'm not signing a new contract, Mike," I said, "and I'm not bringing the truck back until you return my $5,000 down payment." "The down payment is non-refundable on returns," Mike shouted. "Read the fine print. I'm sending a repo truck tonight. Don't test me, old man." He hung up. I looked at the truck. I looked at my evidence. If he took the truck back, he would just wash it and sell it to the next victim, and he would keep my $5,000. I needed to secure the evidence, but I couldn't stop a repo man. They have a legal right to take the vehicle if the contract is voided. Then I had an idea. I went under the dashboard. I found the GPS tracker they had installed to track the vehicle. Most shady dealers use these. I didn't remove it. Instead, I carefully unhooked it and attached it to a portable battery pack. Then I threw the GPS tracker into the back of my friend's cattle trailer, which was heading to a slaughterhouse 3 states away. Then I waited for the tow truck. When the repo man arrived at 2 a.m., as I told you in the beginning, I let him take the F-150. Why? Because I didn't need the truck anymore. I had the VIN number, the photos of the engine hours, and the serial number of the stolen transmission. Big Mike thought he won. He had the truck back and he had my money. But he didn't know that I had already called the state attorney general's office. And he definitely didn't know that according to his own GPS system, his truck was currently doing 70 miles per hour headed toward the Mexican border. The next morning, I was drinking coffee on my porch when my phone rang. It was Big Mike. He didn't sound arrogant anymore. He sounded panicked. "Sam," he shouted, "where is the truck?" "You tell me, Mike," I said calmly. "Your repo man took it at 2 a.m. I watched him tow it away. It's your truck now." "Don't lie to me," Mike screamed.
I'm looking at the GPS tracker. The truck is currently doing 80 miles an hour on the interstate, heading south. It just crossed the state line. Did you steal it back with the spare key?" I smiled. The cattle trailer must be making good time. "I didn't touch it, Mike," I said. "Maybe your repo driver decided to take a vacation in Mexico, or maybe you just lost a $30,000 asset." "I'm calling the police," Mike yelled. "I'm reporting it stolen by you." "Go ahead," I challenged him. "Send him to my house. I have something to show them anyway." 20 minutes later, a sheriff's deputy pulled into my driveway. Big Mike had actually called 911. The deputy walked up. "Sir, we have a report of a stolen vehicle. The dealership says you hijacked a repo truck." "Officer," I said, standing up, "I'm a 60-year-old retired mechanic with a bad knee. Do I look like I hijacked a truck?" I invited the deputy inside. I showed him the security camera footage from my doorbell camera. It clearly showed the repo man taking the truck peacefully at 2 a.m. "The vehicle is in their possession, officer," I explained, "but I suspect they are involved in something much worse than a missing truck. I used to be a fraud investigator. Look at this." I laid out the photos of the engine hours. I showed him the printout of the stolen transmission serial number. I showed him the spot delivery contract that violated 3 state consumer protection laws. The deputy's eyes widened. "This is odometer fraud and grand larceny if they kept your down payment." "Exactly," I said, "and I already called the state attorney general's auto fraud task force. They are interested, but they need probable cause to raid the lot. They need to know if there are other cars like this." The deputy looked at me. "Do you think you can find more?" "Officer," I grinned, "give me 10 minutes on their lot and I'll find you a dozen." The deputy called his supervisor. Then he looked at me. "Get in the car, Sam. We're going to the dealership, but we aren't going to arrest you. We're going to get your money back."
We pulled into Patriot Motors at noon. The inflatable gorilla was dancing in the wind. Big Mike was standing outside, screaming at his employees. When he saw the police car, he smirked. He thought I was being arrested. He walked over, chest puffed out. "About time, officer. Did you arrest this thief? Where is my truck?" "The truck is gone, Mike," I said, stepping out of the cruiser. "Probably halfway to Tijuana by now. But we aren't here for the truck." Behind us, 2 unmarked black SUVs pulled into the lot. 4 men and women in suits stepped out. They were wearing windbreakers that said State Investigator. Big Mike's smirk vanished. "What is this?" "This is an audit," the lead investigator said. "We have probable cause to believe you are selling vehicles with altered odometers and salvage parts. Seal the office. Nobody touches a computer." Chaos erupted. The salespeople froze. Big Mike started sweating profusely. "You can't do this. You have no proof. Just the word of this crazy old man." "Let's see if I'm crazy," I said. I walked over to a random Chevy Silverado on the front row. It had a sticker price of $45,000 and claimed to have 30,000 miles. I popped the hood. I pointed to the bolts on the dashboard firewall. "Officer, look at the paint on these bolts. It's stripped. That means the dashboard was removed recently. Why would you remove a dashboard on a new truck? To tamper with the digital cluster." Then I crawled underneath. "Look at the brake pedal wear," I shouted. "A truck with 30,000 miles has rubber on the pedals. This one is worn down to the metal. This truck has at least 150,000 miles." I moved to a Honda Civic. This one has a repainted bumper masking a frame crack. It was likely totaled in a flood. I moved to a Jeep. This VIN plate has been swapped. In 20 minutes, I identified 8 cars that were illegal. Big Mike wasn't running a dealership. He was running a crime scene. The investigators were taking photos of everything. They seized the files. They seized the computers. And finally, they seized Big Mike. "Michael Henderson," the officer said, reading him his rights,
You were under arrest for grand larceny, wire fraud, and violation of the Federal Odometer Act. As they handcuffed him, Mike looked at me with pure hatred. You ruined me, all over $5,000. No, Mike, I said. You ruined yourself when you tried to steal from a mechanic. I just tightened the bolts. Patriot Motors was shut down that afternoon. The cars were impounded as evidence. Because Big Mike had engaged in yo-yo financing and fraud, the dealership's bond insurance company was liable for the damages. I didn't need to sue Mike personally. He was broke and going to prison. I filed a claim against the dealership's surety bond. 3 weeks later, I received a check. It wasn't for $5,000. In my state, victims of consumer fraud are entitled to treble damages. That means triple the amount of the loss plus punitive damages. The check was for $25,000. I took that money and went to a legitimate dealership. I bought a certified pre-owned truck, and the first thing I did, I put it on a lift and checked the transmission. Old habits die hard. As for the F-150, the police eventually found it, or rather, they found the GPS tracker. It was discovered in a slaughterhouse parking lot in El Paso, Texas, still attached to a battery pack. The actual truck had been sitting in the repo lot the entire time, unnoticed in the chaos. Big Mike got 5 years. The dealership lot is now a Spirit Halloween store. Every time I drive past it, I honk my horn. I learned a lesson, and I hope you did too. When you walk into a dealership, you are walking into a battlefield. They have the contracts, the lawyers, and the tricks, but you have the power of information. Don't be afraid to look under the hood. Don't sign anything you don't understand, and never ever let them take your keys until you have the title in your hand. Thanks for watching. If you want to know how to spot a flood-damaged car or how to check for odometer fraud yourself, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of justice. Drive safe.